The midnight encounter. The sky was black. No stars, no moon, only clouds of dark mist drifting across the dead trees. Dane Mercer dragged his body through the cold mud of Maris 9, his uniform torn and soaked in blood. His left shoulder was wounded, badly. He had been running for hours, running from the alien attack, from the fire, from the screams of his fallen team. Now, he was alone, and he was bleeding. The jungle was silent, except for his heavy breathing and the quiet sound of water. Dripping from the twisted branches above, Dane leaned against a broken tree and slipped down. His body gave up. His eyes began to close. Just a few minutes, he told himself. Just rest. But something moved. Something close. The hairs on the back of his neck stood up. He opened his eyes slowly and saw a shadow. A tall figure. Standing, still. Watching. Her eyes were red, glowing like small stars in the fog. Dane tried to reach for his weapon, but it was gone. His hands were too weak to fight. He could only stare as the figure stepped closer. Silent, smooth, like smoke. She had silver hair, long and floating as if underwater. Her skin was pale and perfect. She didn't wear armor, no boots. Just dark, robes and glowing lines across her arms like tattoos from another world. Then, she spoke, not loud, not soft, just calm. I followed your blood scent for miles, human. Dane's breath caught in his throat. She didn't move. She didn't smile. She only looked at him, as if deciding whether to kill him or save him. What are you? Dane whispered. She blinked slowly. I am called Thalara. I am Noctari. He had heard the name in rumors. The Noctari were legends, alien creatures who lived in the shadows of dead planets. Some called them vampires. Others called them ghosts. Soldiers who had faced them never returned. You gonna kill me? He asked. Thalara tilted her head. If I wanted to, you would already be dead. Fair point. She knelt beside him. Dane flinched, but she didn't attack. Instead, she pulled a cloth from her robe and wiped the blood from his shoulder. Her touch was cold but careful. You lost too much blood, she said. You won't survive the night unless I help you. Why would you help me? Dane asked. She paused, then said, because you smell different. He didn't understand what that meant, but before he could speak again, she touched 2 fingers to his forehead, and everything went dark. He woke up in a cave. Warm fire, dry clothes. His wound was covered, not with bandages, but glowing strips of plant skin that pulsed with soft light. He sat up and saw her, sitting across the fire, silent, staring at him, watching. You brought me here, he said. Thalara nodded once. You should have died, she said, but you didn't. Dane looked at her carefully. What do you want? Her eyes narrowed. You're bleeding, alone. Your people left you behind, and you ask me what I want? He stayed quiet. Thalara stood and walked toward him, slowly, like a predator unsure of her prey. I was born with the gift of scent, she said. Most Noctari can smell blood, but I smell more. She knelt in front of him. I smell fear, pain, strength, and truth. Dane's heart pounded. You're afraid, she said, but not of me. He nodded. I'm afraid I'll die alone out here. Thalara didn't blink. You won't, Dane whispered. Because you'll save me. She leaned closer. No, because I will stay with you. He didn't understand her. Why help him? Why follow him? Why not drain his blood like the stories said? But deep inside something told him. She was not like the others, and maybe neither was he. Outside the cave, the wind howled through the trees. Thalara looked into the darkness. They'll come soon, she whispered. Who? Dane asked. She turned to him, her eyes glowing brighter. The others. They smell your blood too, and they're not as kind as I am. Her name was Thalara. Dane sat near the fire, watching her. The way she moved, slow, silent, but with purpose. She stood at the entrance of the cave, her eyes scanning the shadows. Her glowing tattoos pulsed gently on her arms like they had their own heartbeat. Thalara wasn't human, but she wasn't a monster either, not like the ones in the old stories. Dane finally spoke. Why did you really follow me? Thalara didn't turn around. I told you I smelled your blood. But it was different. He raised an eyebrow. Different how? She looked at him over her shoulder. There was pain in it, but not fear. It smelled lonely. That made Dane go quiet. He didn't know what to say. After a while, she sat beside him. Do you know what Noctari are, human? She asked. I've heard stories, he replied. Vampires, hunters, killers. She gave a short smile. Half true, we drink blood. It's how we survive. But not like wild beasts. We choose who we feed from, and we don't kill without cause. Dane looked into her red eyes. And me? Did you choose me? Thalara nodded once. I chose not to kill you. A pause. Then she added softly, and I chose to stay. The fire cracked gently. Dane leaned back against the cave wall. His shoulder still burned, but it was healing. He looked at her glowing tattoos. What do those mean? She held out her arm, letting him see them closely. They are my family marks. Each line is a bond, a memory. This one is my mother. This one is my sister. And this, she touched a small spiral near her wrist. This one is my exile. Dane's eyes widened. You were exiled? Thalara's voice turned quieter. I refused to drink from children during the war. It was our law then. All enemy colonies were seen as food. But I couldn't do it. I turned against my kind. He said nothing. Because he understood. He'd seen war too. He'd seen orders that felt wrong, and followed them anyway. Maybe she had more courage than him. Suddenly, her head turned sharply. She stood up fast. What is it? Dane asked, reaching for a stick like it would protect him. They're close. Thalara's eyes glowed brighter. 3 of them, moving fast. Dane stood, his legs still weak. We have to go. Thalara held out her hand. You won't make it far alone. If they smell fear, they'll hunt faster. He took her hand. It was cold, but strong. She led him out of the cave into the dark jungle, moving like a shadow. Dane followed, slipping and stumbling behind her. Branches cracked above them. A high-pitched screech echoed through the trees. Thalara froze. They know. She pulled him into a tight ditch under thick roots. Her face was close to his, their breathing slow. Don't speak, she whispered. A shape passed above them, tall, thin, with long fingers and black skin that shimmered in the dark. Its eyes were pale white and its mouth was open, sniffing the air. Dane didn't breathe. The creature stopped, sniffed again, then moved on. Silence returned. Thalara relaxed slightly. They're scouts. The pack will follow. How do we stop them? Dane asked. She looked at him seriously. We don't. We keep moving. Hours passed. They crossed broken rivers, climbed rocky slopes, and hid in hollow trees, all while the sounds of hunting cries echoed behind them. Finally, just before dawn, they reached a ridge. Below, in the distance, stood a ruin, half buried by trees and time. What is that? Dane asked. Thalara's voice was calm. Sanctuary. Noctari ruins from before the war. Old magic protects it. They can't enter. He looked at her. Can you? She nodded. I was born there. As they made their way down the slope, Dane asked, Why are you helping me? Thalara didn't answer at first. Then she said, Because when I found you, you looked at me like a person, not a monster, not an enemy. She paused. And because your blood sings to me, like I've known it before. Dane stopped. What does that mean? Thalara turned to him, her red eyes soft. It means you may be more than just a human to me. The hunger. They reached the ruins just as the sky began to turn gray. The building was made of black stone, cracked and twisted, shaped like it had grown from the earth itself. Vines crawled along its sides. The doorway was tall, curved, and marked, with symbols that glowed faint red. Thalara stepped forward and touched the doorway. The symbols pulsed brighter. A soft hum filled the air, and the door opened with a low sigh. Dane followed her inside. It was quiet, safe. No sounds of the jungle. No more hunters, just silence. The air inside was cool and dry. The walls glowed with soft light. Dane walked slowly, looking around. Did your people build this? Thalara nodded weakly. Long ago. Before we became warriors. Before we fed without choice. She stumbled. Dane caught her before she fell. Thalara? Her face was pale. Paler than before. Her body trembled. I'm weak, she said. I haven't fed in days. The run, the blood loss. It's too much. He helped her sit against the wall. What do you need? She didn't answer right away. Then she looked at him. Her eyes glowed dimly now, tired and glassy. You already know, she whispered. Dane went quiet. He understood. She needed blood. His blood. Part of him hesitated. She was still alien. Still powerful. Could he really trust her? She had saved his life. She could have killed him many times, but didn't. And now, she was dying. He looked at her again. Her fangs were slightly visible, her lips dry, her chest rising slower with each breath. He sat down in front of her and rolled up his sleeve. Do it. Thalara's eyes widened. Are you sure? No, he said. But I'd rather die with you than live without you. She stared at him like she had never seen anyone like him before. Then she moved closer, carefully, slowly, like she didn't want to frighten him. She gently held his arm with both hands. Tell me when to stop, she whispered. Dane nodded once. Thalara opened her mouth and bit down. There was pain, sharp but not unbearable. Then warmth. Strange warmth. Dane closed his eyes. His heartbeat slowed, but something else was happening. He saw flashes, her memories, not just visions, feelings. He saw a young Thalara, standing on this very floor, being taught to read glowing runes. He saw her dancing in the moonlight, laughing with her sister. He saw the night she was ordered to take a child's blood, and the moment she refused. He saw her crying, alone, exiled. He felt her sorrow, her shame, her hunger, and her hope. Hope. In him. Thalara pulled back gently. She wiped her lips, her eyes shining with light again. I took very little, she said softly. You'll be all right. Dane blinked slowly. His head spun for a moment, but he nodded. I'm okay. Thalara looked at him, a strange emotion in her eyes. You let me feed, she whispered. Not out of fear, not for survival, but out of care. He looked at her and smiled faintly. I guess that makes me crazy. No, she said. That makes you chosen. They sat together in silence for a long time. Then Dane asked, What happens now? Thalara closed her eyes. Something changed, she said. When I drank your blood, I saw you, your past, your pain, your strength. She paused. And you saw me. He nodded. That means the bond has begun. Dane blinked. Bond? Our kind. We do not form love like yours. We don't marry with rings or words. We bond through blood, emotion, trust. When a Noctari drinks from someone willingly, a thread connects us. Dane looked at his arm, where her bite had already begun to heal. And what happens when the bond finishes? Thalara looked into his eyes. We become one. In thought. In heart. In fate. Suddenly a deep growl echoed through the walls. Thalara's head snapped toward the entrance. They found the ruins, she said. They cannot enter yet, but they will try. Dane stood. Then we defend this place. No, she said firmly. We leave. He frowned. But it's safe here. For now, she said. But we are being hunted, and soon they'll send more. She looked at him. And now that we're bonded, they will come for you too. Dane picked up a broken metal rod from the ground and tightened the straps of his gear. Then let's keep moving. He looked at her. I'm not running from them anymore. I'm running with you. Blood echo. The ruins were older than memory. Walls, covered in red runes, pulsed with light as Dane and Thalara moved deeper into the stone halls. The air felt heavy, filled with ancient voices, too soft to hear but too loud to ignore. Thalara walked ahead, her steps sure, her senses alert. Dane followed her, still feeling strange after the blood bond. His body was stronger, his hearing was sharper, and sometimes he felt her thoughts, even when she didn't speak. He didn't understand it, but it didn't scare him. It felt right. This place, Dane whispered. It's not just a ruin, is it? Thalara nodded. It's a memory vault, a place where the oldest Naktari stored their stories, not in books but in stone. She pointed to a large door made of dark crystal. The echo chamber lies beyond this. Only the bonded may enter. Dane stepped forward. The crystal door glowed, and then it opened. Inside was a circular chamber lit by nothing, yet glowing softly all around. In the center was a pedestal. Resting on it was a silver orb the size of a human heart. It pulsed slowly like it was alive. What is that? Dane asked. Thalara's voice was low. A blood echo. She walked toward it. It holds the emotions, memories, and pain of every Naktari who has ever loved, fought, or died in war. It is alive. With us. Dane stepped closer. As he looked into the orb, his heartbeat matched its pulse. Suddenly, visions exploded in his mind. He saw worlds burning, ships falling from the sky. He saw Naktari warriors crying in battle, and human soldiers just like him screaming as they ran. Then he saw her, Thalara, standing on a battlefield refusing to strike, and then something more. He saw himself, but not as he was now. He was younger, different, wearing black armor, holding Thalara's hand. Then everything shattered. Dane fell to his knees, gasping. Thalara grabbed his shoulder. What did you see? He looked at her, confused. I think I saw myself. With you. In the past. Thalara's face turned pale. That's not possible. Humans don't live that long. Then why did the orb show me? She looked into his eyes and whispered, Maybe. You're not just human. Silence filled the chamber. Dane stood slowly. What are you saying? Thalara touched his chest, where the bond mark was now glowing softly under his skin. When I fed on you, she said your blood felt familiar, but not like a stranger. It was like I'd tasted it before. He stared at her. Do you think we met before? I don't know, she said. But the echo doesn't lie. Maybe your soul has touched mine in another life. Or maybe what? Maybe you were changed by someone or something. Before they could speak more, the orb pulsed violently. A sound rang out, deep and cold. Thalara turned to the door. The hunters are here. Dane readied himself. We fight? No, she said, walking to the far wall. We take the hidden path. She pressed her hand to the stone, and a secret tunnel opened. They entered the passage as the ruin behind them shook. The echo chamber faded from sight. But something had awakened, not just the bond between them, but something inside Dane, something ancient. As they walked through the narrow tunnel, Thalara whispered, "The bond is changing us both." Dane asked, "Is that a good thing?" She looked at him. "It means we can survive. Together." Back. On the surface, a black ship hovered above the jungle. Dark figures dropped silently into the trees, taller, sharper, with fangs longer than Thalara's. One of them sniffed the air. "Blood has spoken," it said. "And the traitor walks with prey," another growled. Then we silenced them both. Far below, unaware of the new danger, Dane and Thalara reached the end of the tunnel. A valley opened before them, full of red mist and forgotten temples. Thalara pointed. "There," she said. "We'll find answers." Dane nodded. "And maybe the truth about who I really am." The pack arrives. The red valley was quiet. Too quiet. Mist floated over broken stones and forgotten statues. Strange shapes moved in the fog, but none of them were alive. Dane held his weapon tight. Thalara moved beside him, eyes glowing faintly, her senses alert. "We're close to the old temple," she said. "What's inside?" he asked. She didn't answer. Not because she didn't know, but because she feared the answer. They reached the temple's entrance, half buried under vines and stone. Carvings of Noctari faces stared from the walls, eyes empty, mouths open as if frozen mid-scream. "It's not just a temple," Thalara said. "It's a tomb." "For who?" She looked at him. "For a blood king, a Noctari who tried to turn our people into full predators. He believed feeding on pain made us stronger." Dane frowned. "Sounds like the hunters chasing us." "They follow his path," she said softly. "They think killing the bond between us will prove their power." Suddenly, a sharp howl echoed across the valley. Thalara's eyes turned red. "They're here." Dark figures appeared in the mist, tall, fast, and silent. They circled the valley like wolves, their pale skin glowing faintly, their fangs bared. Dane grabbed Thalara's hand. "We run?" She shook her head. "We stand." The first hunter attacked, leaping high, claws flashing. Dane swung his weapon, knocking the creature back. Thalara moved like lightning, spinning, kicking, striking with open hands that sent sparks, flying from the hunter's chest. Another charged from behind. Dane ducked, rolled, and struck with the red blade from the ruins. The blade glowed as it hit, burning the creature's skin. "They're strong," he shouted. "They're feeding on rage," Thalara replied. "Don't give them fear, give them something else." Dane stood tall, heart pounding, but not afraid. He looked at Thalara, still fighting, and in that moment, he felt something inside him ignite. The bond. It pulsed brighter than ever. A glow rose from his chest, spreading to his hands. His blade grew, warmer. His movements became faster. He could feel Thalara's heartbeat, even from across the field. Then something changed. The lead hunter stepped forward, taller, darker, with golden eyes. "Thalara," he growled, "you've bonded with prey. You shame our blood." Thalara stood her ground. "You shame it by hunting without honor." The hunter laughed. "Then prove your honor. Fight me alone." Dane stepped forward. "No, she's not alone," the hunter growled. "Then you both die." They fought, Dane and Thalara side by side, 2 against 1. But together they moved as one body, one mind. Thalara's grace, Dane's strength. Each strike, each dodge, perfect. Until finally, Dane landed a blow across the hunter's chest with the glowing blade. The hunter screamed, stumbled back, and vanished into black mist. The other hunters froze. They watched, and then, without a word, they bowed. Not in defeat, but in respect. Then, they disappeared into the mist. Silence returned to the valley. Dane fell to one knee, exhausted. Thalara helped him up. "You did it," she said softly. "We did it," he replied. She touched his chest, where the bond mark glowed like a star. "You are more than human," she whispered. "You are becoming something new." A low rumble came from the temple behind them. The stone doors slowly opened on their own. They saw your strength, Thalara said. They accept you now. Dane looked into the dark hallway ahead. Then let's finish this, he said. Let's find out what I really am. The bond awakens. The temple opened like a mouth, wide, ancient, and filled with shadows. Dane and Thalara stepped inside. No lights, no sound, only the cold breath of time. As they walked deeper, red runes flickered along the walls, slowly coming to life. The air thickened. The bond between them pulsed stronger with every step. This place knows you, Thalara said quietly. Dane looked around. How? I've never been here. She shook her head. Not in this life. Maybe in another. They reached a circular chamber at the end. In the center stood a tall mirror made of black glass. It pulsed with red veins as if it had blood inside. Above it, carved in the ancient Naktari language, were the words, "He who carries the bond shall carry the flame." What does it mean? Dane asked. Thalara stared at the glass. Only one who is truly bonded, one with blood and heart joined, can awaken the truth inside. Dane stepped closer to the mirror. His reflection wasn't normal. He looked taller, older, his eyes, not just human. A flicker of gold and red shone in them. Suddenly his chest burned, right where the bond mark was. It pulsed. Then it glowed. Then it blazed. Dane dropped to his knees. Images flooded his mind. He saw a starship crashing. A small boy, taken by Naktari priests. Whispers in the dark. Experiments. Training. More whispers. He is the bridge. Half human, half Naktari. Hide him. He must not fall into the Queen's hands. Then he saw Thalara, not in the ruins, but in the past. She held him. He was just a child. Her sister took him away. He is the key. He cannot be yours. Dane gasped and fell forward. The mirror turned to light, and in that light stood a figure, tall, dressed in ancient armor. The face was Dane's, but older, wiser. It spoke in his voice. You are not one or the other. You are both, the bond bringer. Thalara pulled him back gently. He opened his eyes. I'm part Naktari. She nodded. You were hidden. Your blood silenced. But the bond brought it back. Dane looked at his hands. The glow hadn't stopped. I'm not just bonded to you, he said. I was born for it. Thalara smiled. Her eyes, once full of pain, now filled with pride. You were always meant to find me, she said. And I was meant to follow your scent. Suddenly the ground trembled. A voice echoed through the temple. You awakened the flame. Now face the ashes. Dark mist poured in from the walls. It twisted into a form, huge, monstrous. The spirit of the Blood King, eyes of smoke, mouth of fire. You are the child of betrayal. It roared at Dane. You should not exist. Dane stood tall. He wasn't afraid. He held Thalara's hand. No, he said. I'm the future, and I stand with her. The bond mark on their hands connected in glowing threads. The spirit screamed and charged. Together, Dane and Thalara stepped forward. Their bond exploded in light. The flames hit the spirit, but instead of burning him, they broke him apart, piece by piece, memory by memory, until all that was left was peace. The temple stilled. The mirror faded. Dane and Thalara stood in the center, hearts racing, breath steady. They had survived. No, they had become. Outside, the red mist began to clear. The valley was quiet. The hunters were gone. And above them, for the first time, stars returned to the sky. Dane looked at her. What now? Thalara smiled. Now we rise. Not as prey, not as predator. She took his hand, but as bondmates and guardians of both our worlds. The Queen's choice. The stars were quiet above the valley. Dane and Thalara stood on the temple steps side by side, their bond glowing softly between their hands. But peace never stayed long. A sharp humming sound cut through the sky. Talara looked up. Her face went cold. She's here. A black ship, larger than any Dane had ever seen, hovered above the temple. Its metal body reflected no light. Its engines whispered death. The Noctari Queen had arrived. Soldiers in red armor landed around them, silent, tall, fanged. They formed a circle but didn't move forward. Then, she appeared. The Queen floated down slowly, her robes flowing like dark smoke. Her face was like Talara's, only colder, sharper. Her eyes glowed silver, not red. Her voice was calm, but it cut like a blade. Talara, my blood, my shame. You bond with prey. You break the law of our people. Talara stood, firm. This is not prey. This is Dane Mercer, my bondmate. Dane stepped forward. I'm not here to start a war. The Queen looked him over. You already did. The Queen raised her hand. A glowing chain of red energy appeared. Break the bond, she said. Renounce the human, or I will tear him apart in front of you. Talara's voice trembled, but she stood tall. No. The Queen's eyes narrowed. Then you choose exile, forever. Dane held Talara's hand tighter. We don't need your throne. We just want peace. A long silence. Then, the Queen floated down to the ground and walked toward them slowly. She stopped just a few steps away. Then something unexpected happened. She spoke in a softer voice. I remember when you were children. You followed me everywhere. You laughed, you dreamed. Talara's expression didn't change. That was before you chose fear over freedom. The Queen looked sad. I only wanted to protect our people. Dane stepped in. Then let us show them another way. Not war, not blood. Something new. The Queen's eyes flicked toward him. You're not fully human, I see it now. You were touched by our kind, hidden. She walked around him slowly. You carry power. And choice. She stopped in front of Talara. Do you love him? Talara didn't hesitate. With all that I am. Another silence. Then the Queen stepped back and raised her hand. All her soldiers knelt. Even the sky seemed to hold its breath. She looked at them both. Then I offer you this. Her voice echoed through the valley. You may leave this world together. I will not hunt you. But the Noctari must remain pure. If you stay, the bond must be broken. Dane looked at Talara. She looked at him. No words, just heartbeats. The same rhythm. Finally, Dane turned to the Queen. We're not leaving, Talara added, and we're not breaking the bond. The Queen's hands clenched. Then slowly, they relaxed. She looked at the sky, then back at them. And for the first time in many years, she smiled. A sad, soft smile. Then may your bond guide the future, she said. She turned and walked away. Her ship rose into the sky, and the Queen was gone. Talara turned to Dane, eyes full of tears. You gave up everything, he smiled. I didn't give up anything. I chose you. She touched his cheek. And I chose you. That night the temple was quiet. Stars filled the sky. Dane and Talara sat on the edge of the cliff, hands joined, their bond mark glowing like a tiny star. He looked at her. What do we do now? She leaned against him. We build a new world. Not for one race, but for us. For all who want peace. He nodded. And we do it together. Far away on distant worlds, stories began to spread. Of a human and a vampire-like alien. Of a bond formed not by blood, but by choice. Of two souls who stood against a queen. And one. In a galaxy divided by fear, two hearts became a bridge. Not between species, but between what was and what could be. What?